Alright, good morning everyone. Welcome to the stream. How is everyone today? I hope I find you well. I hope you enjoyed this little preview of Jasper Kitty that I showed those who were live viewers right now. I turned on the camera briefly as Jasper had jumped up behind me on my chair to celebrate the beginning of a new streaming week, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone? Hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you had a good day away yesterday. As you know, I had my day off for the week, and now things are going to get back to normal around here. I am here 7 straight streaming days starting today. 7 without a break. Full stream days. Pretty ridiculous. There's so much going on in the realm of gaming that there is no time to spare. I've got to be playing these new releases. I've got to be continuing and finishing up the games I'm playing. We're going to have some chill fun, my friends. So today is actually my... Wait a minute here. Today's Friday the 10th, correct? Alright, I was confused. I didn't realize what date today was. Today is Friday, September 10th, 2021. How y'all doing? I hope everyone's doing well. And I hope you're all ready for a fun and full day of gameplay streaming. But we've also got a significant amount of gaming-related news to talk about today here on the pre-stream. First of all, we had the big Sony event yesterday. I call it a big Sony event because I'm not even sure what to call it. It was kind of a mishmash, let's be honest here. They had a lot of randomized information and game stuff kind of crammed together. And quite frankly, to be fair, there was a lot of stuff covered, but I want to give you my take on all of it today on the pre-stream. I'm not going to go into massive detail on every little thing, but I'm going to tell you about the different games that were talked about, give you my takes on them, and then give you my overall thoughts about the event. Alright? So we got that to talk about, right? But then on top of that, this morning there was a monstrous court ruling that's going to affect not only games, but all applications on Apple devices moving forward, which of course is right in line with stuff that, you know, I do. Apple devices, everyone uses Apple devices, whether it's a smartphone, an iPad, you know, computer. Apple is a ginormous dominant, and combine the two words, force in the realm of tech. And this ruling is going to change a lot of stuff, so I want to talk about that in this morning, this ruling's implications as well. If you can believe, it all started with Fortnite, and it came to this. It's pretty interesting. Okay? So, I'm excited. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, today, it is a new game release, a game that I am, let me put it this way. I am looking at it optimistically, but I'm not exactly expecting the world from it. But I am hoping that today's premiere of Life is Strange True Colors is fun and interesting and ends up being a very good narrative-based experience. As you guys know, narrative-based games are some of the games that people tell me all the time are their favorite playthroughs of mine. It doesn't matter if the narrative-based game is outstanding or bad. People just love seeing me react to narrative-based games. They're very light on gameplay, but seeing me react to the writing, the story elements, the twists, the turns, people really seem to enjoy that, and they say that's my forte. You know, it all started back in the day with games like Back to the Future from Telltale Games, you know, The Walking Dead. A lot of people say the culmination of that for me was Heavy Rain a decade ago. That's right. Heavy Rain was over a decade ago, actually. So I'm very excited to jump into this game and see, you know, if it's any good. Now, the reason I say that is Life is Strange is a series now. It's been around for quite a while. Life is Strange 1 came out in 2015, okay? Back then, no one knew what to expect, and it ended up being kind of the sleeper hit of the summer. I remember playing the first episode. After having skipped it for a few days, people kept telling me, no, Phil, it's actually really good, you should play it. So eventually I did, and I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was. The writing was kind of cringe-worthy and teen angsty, but at the same time, it was actually quite entertaining to kind of react to it. The plot was interesting with a time manipulation mechanic, and it had an ongoing air of mystery, and you didn't really know what was going on in the game. So I was very excited for that game, because I was like, wow, it's a company that's not Telltale, that's doing narrative-based games that is actually pretty good. And now here we are 6 years later, and Telltale's out of business, right? But this company, Don't Nod, is still going strong with the Life is Strange franchise. Now, Life is Strange 1 was absolutely great. I loved the Life is Strange 1. Life is Strange Before the Storm, the prequel, sucked shit because it took away any kind of powers or interesting plot. It was just basically nonstop angsty teens. So it stunk because of that, in my opinion. Life is Strange 2 started off strong, and then about 2 episodes in became this preachy, very, very liberal plot line about how America is incredibly racist and biased against anyone who's not white. And I hate to say it, there are people like that in our country, but I don't think it's as prominent and as dominant as they would lead you to believe if you played that game. And by the end of the game, it was so cringeworthy. The writing, the characters, the outcome was just terrible. And I feel they ruined it with the writing, because the plot could have been good, but instead they had this preachy shit to tell you, and it fucked the game up. Okay? So here we are. Life is Strange True Colors is not Life is Strange 3. They renamed it True Colors, probably because they want to not associate it with those other games. You know what I'm saying? New cast, new character, new location, new story, new everything. New console. Right? New console, quite frankly. So, let's see what happens with today's premiere stream of Life is Strange True Colors. Unlike previous Life is Strange games, Life is Strange True Colors is a full game. What I mean by that is it's not episodically released. Right now, I have the entire game loaded on my PS5, and we can play it from start to finish. Now, how long is it? I'm not sure. I didn't really research it that much. Previous Life is Strange games were 5 episodes of usually between 2 and 3 hours each, so you would argue about 15 hours long. I guess we'll see exactly how this goes, and if they've changed that formula up at all, because it's no longer split up episodically in its delivery. But what I'm liking is that it's actually a full game. You don't have to wait 2-3 months for a new episode to come out, and by then you've lost all stake in the game, you forgot the plot, and you don't really care because you're already in the midst of so many other things. That's actually what happened with a lot of the previous episodic games. Is you like it, it starts off strong, but then the next episodes come out when there's other big game releases and stuff, and now you're trying to cram it in. It's like, ugh, this is good because it's all together. So we'll see what happens over the course of this week. I'll be playing this game starting today. All right, I'm excited to see what it is. Even if it's terrible, I think it's still going to be a great playthrough because we at least get to react to that together, right? But I hope it's not. I seriously hope it's good. Later tonight, it is my weekly throwback session of old school Street Fighter fun, which is appropriately why I am wearing my Ryu t-shirt for today. Finally, I get to wear a Street Fighter shirt all day long during a day when I'm actually playing Street Fighter, okay? So that's exciting. And I hope you will join me later tonight at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time for 2 hours of old school Street Fighter goodness. All right. Tomorrow it's going to be more Life is Strange True Colors, and tomorrow night we're going to be doing more Hades. I have now beaten the final boss of Hades twice, which has advanced the plot significantly. My character is now way stronger than he used to be, and I'm looking forward to more runs because you have to beat it 10 times in order to see the true ending. Seems like every time we're getting pretty good and we're getting through a run, so can we continue this pattern? We'll find out tomorrow night. On Sunday, we're mixing it up. We're taking a break from Life is Strange to swing back to the end game of Psychonauts 2. This game has been one of my favorites of the year, and also probably the most ignored game that I've played this year. Seriously, like, it's been so ridiculously ignored. People not talking about it, people not playing it, and people not coming to my streams of it. I'm not sure what I can do to convince people that this game is good at this point, because it's ridiculously good. I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to more this Sunday, because it's basically about 1 to 2 more streams before I finish the game. So I hope you'll join me on Sunday. And then Sunday night is my weekly session of Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's going to be fun. Flying to new locations in the world. We're actually going to Tijuana, Mexico to start off, because that was the biggest contributor of last week's request. And then who knows where the sky will take us on Sunday night. Okay? On Monday, more Life is Strange. Okay? Now this week, here's the deal. On Tuesday, it's the release of Deathloop. Okay? So on Tuesday, we will have another new game release, and a game release that's basically been teased for the longest effing time. We've now seen like 400 trailers for this game. What's hilarious is if this game sucks, Seriously, if this game sucks, this is like the most hyped game ever to suck. This game has been hyped up for like 2 years, then delayed monstrously, so it better be good on Tuesday, is all I have to say. Okay? And so, excuse me, and so, what I'll be doing this week is alternating Life is Strange and Deathloop, and I am streaming all the way through Thursday, so that means I'm here today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 straight days, okay? So this week we will see massive progress in both Life is Strange and Deathloop, to the point where maybe we'll beat Life is Strange. I doubt we're going to beat Deathloop because we're just starting it on Tuesday, but we will see massive progress in Life is Strange, maybe even beat it if the game's not so long, because I'm not sure how long it actually is. But I guess we'll find out, okay? And that's the week. It's going to be a very exciting week with these 2 new releases, and by the way, finishing up Psychonauts 2, and more progress in Hades, and stuff like that. If we have time for some random night streams, maybe I'll squeeze in a stream of some random stuff, like maybe I'll try Grounded out on the Xbox Series X or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but if we have the time for it, we may do a little bit of variety this week as well. Okay? So, that's the streaming week. Now, when I come back, sorry, I just took a big sip of seltzer. When I come back for my break that Thursday, okay, it will be, hold on, because I want to check the actual date that it'll be. That Thursday is the 16th, so, my break is on Friday, so I'll come back on the 18th, okay? Just so you guys know, there are more major new releases coming out this month. One of the possibilities is the beta for Call of Duty Vanguard is supposed to be coming out in the next week or so. Like, the rumor is that's coming out around the 18th, actually. So if it does, I will be playing the beta for Call of Duty Vanguard. How many sessions will I play of the beta? It really depends on how much fun I have with it. If I play it once and I hate it, I'll probably never play it again. And it might actually be the determining factor in if I even end up buying the game later this year. If I play the beta and I end up liking it, then maybe I'll do another session of it. Okay? So it really depends on, how the beta is executed and how much I like it. Now, the other new releases that are still coming out this month, after Deathloop, there's Diablo 2 Resurrected on the 23rd, Kena Bridge of Spirits on the 24th, and Lost Judgment on the 24th. Okay, that's what we're looking at when it comes to remaining game releases for September. Now, there may be another 1 or 2 squeezed in. If you guys feel there's a smaller scale game that I did not know about or I missed out on, and you'd be interested in seeing me play it, by all means, excuse me, please let me know. In fact, one of the ones that people have been asking me about is, will I play WarioWare? There's a new WarioWare game coming out in the next week, and people are interested to see if I would play something that's completely different from what I would normally do on a stream. Now, I owned WarioWare, excuse me, on the original Nintendo DS many, many years ago. When it was actually a new release on the DS, I bought it, and I actually really enjoyed it. But the thing about WarioWare is, it's just a series of minigames. At least up to now, that's always been what it's been. So if doing a series of minigames like that on a stream, I could see it maybe being entertaining for like a stream or two. But would it actually be anything in the realm of a lengthy playthrough? I don't know. I really don't know if it would retain viewership, or people would just get bored of the same minigames over and over within a stream or two. The fact that the game costs $40 makes me very, very skeptical about checking it out, unless people basically say it's different from the other games and maybe it has substance to it, then maybe I would consider it. Now, another game that's coming out, that actually comes out today, is Tales of Arise. Now, I've already addressed this, but I'll address it again for those of you who maybe were not here earlier this week to find out why I'm not playing Tales of Arise today. It's a pretty simple concept, alright? I'm trying to finish up Psychonauts 2. I knew I wanted to play Life is Strange because people love the narrative-based game playthroughs that I do. And Deathloop's been a game that's been hyped for 2 years, and I'm looking forward to checking out. So those games were absolutely 100% definites for me this month, okay? Now, later this month, there's Lost Judgment. Admittedly, Lost Judgment is probably my most hyped RPG-style game in a while. Even though it's not turn-based, it's still an action-based RPG hybrid game. It's the style of the old-school Yakuza games. Judgment 2 years ago was one of my favorite games of the year. I cannot wait for Lost Judgment because I get the feeling it's going to be one of our favorite playthroughs of 2021. Okay? I just finished Fallout New Vegas. An incredibly lengthy RPG. Was it a turn-based JRPG? Absolutely not. But an incredibly long game, an incredibly lengthy playthrough, almost 100 hours. 2.5 months, the summer-long playthrough this year, right? The last thing I wanted to do was start saying, oh, I'll play Tales of Arise too. So now I gotta finish Psychonauts, I'm playing Tales of Arise, I'm playing Life is Strange, I'm playing Deathloop, and then right after that we got 2 to 3 other new games, and then next thing you know, now I don't have time to finish anything. You know what I mean? I'm so backed up with a million playthroughs that we're gonna have a situation where a game like Tales of Arise, I'll be playing it like once to twice a week, making zero progress, and people would just be upset, and essentially the playthrough would fail. I know from experience this is the case. When I play an RPG like this, if I'm not playing it enough, meaning if I'm only playing it 1 to 2 times a week, like just a couple hours each time, 4 hours a week is not enough to make progress in a lengthy RPG. It's just not. You end up stale and stagnant. You get stuck in a spot and you can't really make plot advancement. You don't have enough time to do anything in a stream. And the people who actually were there to enjoy the playthrough were disappointed. Okay? So, for me, I know exactly what happens when you do this kind of thing. For me, if I'm going to play Tales of Arise, okay, I want to play it at a time when I know I can sit down and enjoy it and focus on it and have it be one of my 2 or 3 major playthroughs and not have to sit on a back burner while I'm playing the next release, the next release, the next release. And in addition, when there's not another RPG that I know I'm going to want to play more because it's a hyped sequel to a game that I loved 2 years ago, and that's going to want to be my main focus, you see? If I want to play Tales of Arise, I want to give it its due. I don't want to say, oh, now it's one of 5 playthroughs I'm doing and I don't get to play it, and now it basically going to kind of just sits around unplayed, you see? The last thing I would want to do is disappoint you guys, but also not give the game its own due justice, because it might be a very good game. Reviews are actually quite high for Tales of Arise right now. So here's what I'm thinking. Tales of Arise is a definite possibility of a game that I actually want to play. I loved Tales of Vesperia. That was a game that I played before I ever made YouTube content, and I basically platinumed it, but I played it on the 360, so I didn't platinum it. I just got every achievement for it. I played the living shit out of it, and basically ultra completed it. Then, years later, I played Tales of Exilia, which was also a lengthy, fun playthrough that we did together here on stream. Remember, that's where the mutton, fresh mutton meme came from. And it was actually quite chill. That we kind of hung out with each other when I played it. That was a playthrough where it wasn't super serious. It was more fun. Okay? Then Tales of Exilia 2, I hated. I thought the game was boring. The game used exactly the same characters and situations from the first game. There were a lot of reused content, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as the first game. Okay? So that's my history with the Tales series. By the way, at one point, I did try Tales of Symphonia, and I thought it was boring. It was just very slow-paced, and it just felt like a very outdated game compared to the ones I had played, because, you know, it is an older game. It was re-released for modern consoles at one point. So, I would argue, if I'm going to play Tales of Arise, let's wait. Alright? Let's wait until there's time to focus on it. Because I don't want to give the game disrespect. I don't. I feel like I would be doing the game I would be doing the game dirty to play it along 20 other playthroughs and then not give it a fair shot. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely, I want to play it, but I just don't think I should do it now. Let's wait. Maybe there'll be time in October, November, or I would argue, if there's no time in October and November, December would definitely be the time. Because December is almost empty for game releases at this point. In fact, if I remember correctly, the only major release right now is Dying Light 2 and Halo Infinite, and they're both in the first week of December. So, maybe then, after we're at the end and we're wrapping up Lost Judgment, then would be a great time to start up Tales of Arise, right? That's what I'm thinking. Okay? So, I'm sorry to those who wanted to see it right away at launch. I've heard nothing but good things about the game so far. I believe it actually will be a great RPG, but I don't want to do the games a disservice. I don't want to do you a disservice. If you want to see that playthrough and then I'm not focusing on it because I'm juggling so many other games, I'd rather wait. Okay? I hope that makes sense. To those who actually want to see a good playthrough, I hope that makes sense. Okay? I know people chomp at the bit to see a game on new release day, but I think it makes more sense to wait. Okay? Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, some other exciting things that will be happening over this weekend. They haven't happened yet, but what I'm going to be doing is setting up 2 things for you guys. First of all, there's going to be a forum thread where you guys can nominate the games you want to see me play during the upcoming Halloween Marathon event. It's going to be exciting because I do this every year. I dress up in costume and I play a variety of games. Sometimes it's horror games, sometimes it's not. It's really dependent on what you guys request. And so, this year's be no different. You guys are going to be able to start nominating right away. Alright? I'm going to actually set that up as early as tonight, but I would argue maybe tomorrow or Sunday, but it will, over this weekend, it will definitely be set up. Now, in addition to that, if you are a member of this channel, first of all, thank you to the 272 people who are members of this channel. I really appreciate your support. That being said, you get some special stuff coming up. This week, you're going to be able to start nominating games as well for the Halloween event. The difference here is that it's a members exclusive game pick that will make it into the event. So you see the difference here? You have one situation where all of my viewers will be nominating stuff, and then we have a situation where members only will be nominating stuff, and the members only game will definitely get in. You see? Pretty cool. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to set it up as a members only post on my community tab right here on my DSPGaming channel on YouTube. So that'll be set up within the next day or two. You guys will be able to nominate on that tab, on that post. And then what I'll do is have those threads, you know, both on my forums and on my community tab here on YouTube, be running for a week or two. And I want to see all the different kind of games you guys nominate. And then we're going to narrow it down, and then we're going to have polls, both for the open polling for those, you know, again, the common viewer who just wants to go to the forums and vote. And then we're going to have members only. People who are members will be able to vote. Okay? So it's pretty exciting to know that one game will be in there just as a result of the members, and another game will be in there as a result of just the, you know, everyone, open stuff. So actual membership only incentives, you know what I'm saying? People were asking me for this for a bit now. They said, Phil, you know, you're trying to grow your channel, you're trying to get more people to be a member. Well, this is a way you could do it. Give members some exclusive incentives to become a member. Here's one right here. All right, guys, and that's coming up. So I hope you guys are excited for that. Now, if you take a look, guys, we're at 272 out of 285 members. I'm pleased to announce we didn't lose a single member during my day off. Great. I'm happy about that, because usually when I have a day off, we do dip in membership. We are so close to hitting the tier 2 member goal, only 13 members needed. And when we do that, the next level of rewards will be unlocked, and that means that you guys will be able to help me pick the costume that I will be wearing on my Halloween marathon. So here's typically what happens. During the course of September and October, usually some Halloween stores open up around here where I live, and my wife and I usually start going to them on our days off to see what they've got. Currently, there's one in the mall, there's one at a local shopping center, and there's actually a Party City that has costumes too. So we have 3 options already before we even figure out if there's anything else out here, okay? And we're going to start looking at them soon. We actually wanted to go yesterday, but we were running around doing so much, we didn't have a chance. So probably starting next week, we'll start to go and check out these Halloween stores and see what they've got, okay? 21 Savage, Carl, you're not banned. Everyone can see your messages. Okay. So that being said, once we have an idea of what's out there, we usually narrow down costumes to categories. So, for example, some of the categories I've used in previous years: comic book character, classic Hollywood horror villain or monster, pop culture icon or musician, something like that, actor, or video game character. Those are just some of the ones I've used in the past. And then if I have these categories, you guys vote on the category you want to see, and based on the category you vote, then we pick a costume, you see? But we have to get an idea of what's out there first, because obviously if we look and there's like almost no good video game costumes this year, then obviously I don't want to have that as a category. You vote and then it's a disappointing costume. You see what I mean? So we'll see what happens. In the next few weeks, we will formulate this, and if we do hit the member goal by the end of September, you guys will be voting on the category of costume to help me determine exactly what it is that I wanted to be for Halloween, okay? There you go. Someone wants me to be Ninja. Someone wants me to be Dr. Disrespect. How much you want to bet that they probably do have a ninja costume? I doubt they have a Dr. Disrespect costume, but I bet they have a ninja costume. In reality, Ninja's harder to pull off because of his hair, right? Like, they'd probably sell you, like, a blue spiky wig or something for Ninja and a headband or something. But for Dr. Disrespect, you could just get, like, that, like, a flowing wig, a pair of similar glasses, right? Headphones, I mean, and just some kind of a vest that kind of looks like his. I would argue that's easier. Steven Seagal, I could pull off. I already look bloated and disgusting just like him, so, you know, I'm pretty close already. Maybe just get some fake longer hair or something, I don't know, and tie it back. Okay, so anyway, guys, yes, please consider becoming a channel member if you're not yet. There's many benefits. I've already mentioned one. You get exclusive ability to nominate games and things for special events. You'll get that this month for the Halloween event. But in addition to that, you get a cool chat crown badge to show how long you've been a supporter. You get a highlighted name in the stream chat. You don't have to abide by the slow mode rules of the chat. And you get all my emotes. Right now, there are 20 emotes and climbing. When we hit 300 members, we unlock another one. All right? So it's awesome. Please consider becoming a member if you have not. Now, if you like my content and you enjoy my streams and you want to support my efforts to keep doing this, please understand something. I am an individual who is not backed by anybody. I don't have any partnerships. I don't have any sponsorships. For 13 years, I have been here on a daily basis sharing my live gameplay experiences with all of you because I love to do it. I have a passion for gaming. I've been a lifetime gamer. It was my hobby when I was a kid. It continues to be my passion and my hobby now, as well as my job. When how many people can say that they get to do what they have a passion for a living? Not many. And I am incredibly grateful for the fact that you guys every single day give me the capability of saying and doing that. It is tremendously awesome that you guys allow me to do what I love. Thank you for crowdfunding my efforts and allowing me to keep doing this. That being said, there are many ways that you could crowdfund me. First of all, I've already mentioned becoming a member. That's one way. Another way would be by doing a super chat or a super sticker. These are ways of contributing through YouTube itself. And if you do those, you'll get a highlighted message in the chat, and it allows you to help me in the long term, meaning that's long-term support. It takes a while, about a month and a half to process those things, but memberships and super chats, super stickers do help the long-term health of the channel. What I hope is that in the long term, we will build this channel up to the level that it was when I was on Twitch, have the same amount of members, the same amount of ongoing super chats, super stickers that were equivalent with the cheers I got over there. So that way, we're back on track. Right now, we're not even close, but it is a slow build, and every month I am seeing growth. Thank you for that. Okay? Now, the best way for you to support my streams, quite frankly, is by tipping me. If you tip me, all right, that allows me to use those funds immediately for something important. Perfect example here, coming up in the next few weeks, I have to purchase Deathloop. I may be getting Diablo 2 Remastered. I have to get Lost Judgment as well as Kena Bridge of Spirits. So by the end of this month, I have to drop between $200–300 just on games alone. In addition to paying my bills, utilities, all these things that are coming up. Tips help with all of that because I get those funds immediately to put towards those important things. But in addition, tips get the least percentage taken out of them for the transaction, meaning I appreciate memberships and super chats, super stickers, but, you know, YouTube takes a cut, and that's fair. They're providing a free platform for me to give you content. They should get a cut. But if you tip me, PayPal takes less of a cut. So, just saying, it's a way to help out, and it's a way to directly aid the streams. And I understand if you can't tip, that's okay, but it is the best way to support. You can tip by either looking at the description of the stream or by typing !tip into the stream chat. Either way is much appreciated. And because tips are so important, okay, I basically have it set up that there are reward tiers for tips. Here are the rewards. If we raise $50 of tips, I'll put on my Gunner glasses. If we raise $100 of tips on today's stream, I will put on a hat of your choice. However, there is an exclusion today. The hats available today will be the digital, the camo boonie, the fake hair tips hat, or the cowboy hat. You may be saying, well, why isn't the military style hat eligible? Because today is Friday, and on Friday nights, we play Street Fighter. And every Street Fighter stream, I want the military hat to be eligible because that means it's Bison time. M. Bison, last week it was actually fun wearing the military hat and playing with M. Bison a bit. I actually had a few pretty dominating matches. It was actually quite entertaining, and I'd like to do that again tonight. So rather than having the hat eligible twice in a row, we'll have it as tonight's hat on the late stream, okay? So there you go. But don't worry, I know you guys still like the fake platinum tips hat. You like the cowboy hat. It's the one you've been having the longest running, so there you go. Now, excuse me. the top tips goal is $150. That's what we're aiming to get during today's stream. And if I raise that much during today's stream, you get to pick a vest of your choice. All vests are eligible today. All your favorites, including the red, the platinum, the denim, the gold. These are all your biggest, most demanded vests, are all eligible today. So that's completely open eligibility, just so you know. All right. So again, if you like my content and if you want to support me in the best possible method, please tip me today. I appreciate all contributions, and in fact, we're about to do some news, and after the news ends, it's shout-outs time for those contributions, all right? Let's get to news, because we got two big stories to talk about. First of all, the Sony event yesterday. I'm going to go through it step by step very quickly, okay? Here's what was talked about on the Sony event. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is getting a remake that's a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive. Great, but we already knew about this. It was already leaked. This information had already been leaked on the internet about a month ago, so we already kind of knew this was in the works. We did not know it would be a PS5 timed exclusive. It's also going to be on PC at launch, but it will not be on the Xbox Series X or X at launch, okay? This is obviously good news for people who love the series. I played it last year and really enjoyed the game, albeit I definitely saw how outdated it was and how that game turned into franchises such as Dragon Age and other games from BioWare. But who knows what's going to happen with this remake? We don't know. You know, it could be great. It could end up being completely different from the original game. If it is a successful remake slash reboot, likely they'll do Knights of the Old Republic 2 as well, which I never played. But interesting, okay? Project Eve is a brand new franchise, and it's very confusing. Like, from the little bit that I saw of it, I couldn't even make heads or tails of what this was. I think it's coming out next year, but I don't think we have a set release date as of yet. Tiny Tina's Wonderland is the new standalone expansion for Borderlands. If you like Borderlands, you'll probably like it. If you don't like Borderlands, who cares? I'll be honest, I'm not very interested in it, because I think Borderlands is kind of played out at this point, and I'm really not too interested in it at all. I believe that comes out in March. I'm not 100%, but I think that comes out in March. Forspoken. Oh, crap. It's a third-person game that seems like you're going to have some kind of, like, psychic abilities and powers, but it's not 100% clear-cut what this is going to be yet. By the way, isn't this made by the same people? Forspoken. Isn't this from Square Enix, right? This is the game that everyone thought was going to be Final Fantasy, but it's not. It's different. The graphics look outstanding, right? Like, the graphics are like, whoa, really good. But I think it's a little too early on to really make judgments about the game yet. That's coming out next year, too, but we don't know when. Rainbow Six Extraction is coming out in January. Originally, it was supposed to come out this month, but ended up getting delayed many, many months. Rainbow Six Extraction is a game where you're playing Rainbow Six-style gameplay against waves of zombies. So it's kind of like Rainbow Six meets Left 4 Dead, which is interesting because we're also getting Back 4 Blood in October, which is essentially the resurgence and remaking of Left 4 Dead. So I don't know how well this game is going to do. I'm interested in it. If this is included on Game Pass, which I'm not sure if it is, I'm definitely playing it. If it's not on Game Pass, then I'm kind of on the fence about it. But it's coming out in January. Alan Wake Remastered, which was leaked just a few days ago, is real. It's coming out on October 5th. I've added it to my gaming schedule because I do want to play it. Interesting that they're bringing back this franchise now because there's strong rumors that because Remedy, the game studio that makes this franchise as well as other games such as Quantum Break and recently Control, because Control sold so well, they're going to make a sequel to Alan Wake. That's the rumor. And so the reason they're doing this re-release is because they want people to basically get back into Alan Wake. They want to have Alan Wake be made available to a whole new generation of gamers 10 years later so they can get into it and want to play the sequel. All right? So this is good news, although it's really non-news because it already leaked. It was already on the internet. Grand Theft... This is hilarious to me. Grand Theft Auto 5 expanded and enhanced, you know, the 27th re-release of Grand Theft Auto 5 has been delayed. A game that was made 10 years ago has been delayed. Okay. So anyway, Grand Theft Auto 5, as well as Grand Theft Auto Online being a standalone, apparently you can get it as a standalone game. These are going to both come out in March of next year. Okay? I don't know who's excited for this. Who's excited to play the same game you've played 17 times and pay $70 for it this time? Right? Expanded and enhanced. Okay, anyway. Ghostwire Tokyo. I think we're all excited for Ghostwire Tokyo. This is the next game from, oh god, is it Miyazaki? The guy who made Evil Within and the original developer of, or original creator of Resident Evil. We've been waiting for this guy to come out with the game for the longest time, and this game is sadly has kind of been delayed a bunch of times. So I'm excited for this, but there's like no information about it, right? It just sadly there's no info about the release of Ghostwire Tokyo besides this few pieces of gameplay we've seen. I'm excited. It seems interesting. It seems like it's going to be something different, but I want more info, man. I'm craving info. It's Mikami, not Miyazaki. Thank you. I keep getting the names confused. He's Shinji Mikami. Thank you. Thank you. I apologize for getting his name wrong. The guy is really, I like the games he puts out, so I'm excited for this. Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out. We already know it's coming out in October, and they showed a little bit more of it. This is another situation where the game itself, the writing and the plot looks incredibly fun and interesting because it's right in the spirit of what Guardians of the Galaxy is as both a comic book and a movie franchise. But sadly, the gameplay looks terrible. So it might be a game that the gameplay sucks shit. You have to suffer through it to get to good parts of the story. I don't know. Okay. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. I had heard they were making a new Vampire the Masquerade game for the longest time, but this is not what I was expecting. A third-person online co-op game. Vampire the Masquerade, I played it in the late 1990s. Yeah, I played it with my friends on PC. We each had it. It was an online co-op. It wasn't a very good game, I'll be honest. It kind of ran like shit, and it wasn't super fun, but apparently Vampire has had a following over the last 20 years, and I don't know if this is going to be anything worth talking about, honestly, but we'll see. Deathloop. Did you guys hear, by the way, did you guys hear Deathloop is coming out? I don't know if you guys have heard about this little game. Maybe you never heard of it before. Deathloop. I made a joke on social media last night. I said, the closer we get to the impending release of Deathloop next week, the more the PR company talks about it and releases more trailers. This is going to exponentially increase the closer we get to the release of the game on Tuesday, to the point that by Tuesday, there will be more than one new trailer released per second onto the internet. This will completely sap and take up all the internet's bandwidth to the point where no one will be able to use the internet, let alone download the actual game when it releases on Tuesday. I can't believe they fucking showed off Deathloop again in this Sony event. What the fuck? Like, we don't know about this game yet, right? Oh, sorry. I was stuck under a cave-in for the past 3 years. What's this Deathloop game? Right? Anyway, let's continue. Kid Amnesia. I don't know what this game is. I don't think anyone does. It might be horror. It might not. Supposedly it's coming out in November, but it doesn't seem very clear what the hell it's going to be. I don't even know this other game. TCHIA? Chicha? If anyone wants to tell me what that is, I have no idea. Uncharted Lost Legacy is getting a remaster and PC port. Who cares? I don't know why anyone needs that. The game runs perfectly fine on PS4 and is playable on PS5. So why the game needs a remaster, I have absolutely no fucking clue. But apparently Naughty Dog feels like it does. It sounds like they're milking something for free money, if you ask me. One of the big announcements was that there will be a new Wolverine game being made by Insomniac Games, the same people who made Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, and are currently working on Spider-Man 2. The game has zero gameplay footage. We have no idea what it's going to be, but they're working on a Wolverine game. Gran Turismo 7 is coming out next year. I forget exactly when, but it's going to be, you know, incredibly great visual car driving simulation game. Am I excited for it? Not really. If anything, I may play it just for the visuals, but I'm not a big car sim guy, so I don't know how much I'm going to be excited for that. Speaking of Spider-Man 2, there was an update on that. It is actually being developed pretty heavily, and apparently from what people are saying, it's the biggest Spider-Man game ever. It's incredibly large scale. It's going to feature both Spider-Man as Peter Parker and Miles Morales, which we kind of knew was going to happen if you played the previous games. You kind of knew there were going to be two Spider-Men in this one. Also Venom. is going to be a part of it. And the game is coming out in 2023. And then the last thing was God of War Ragnarok, which a lot of people have kind of had mixed feelings about this. From the footage they showed, the game seems incredibly similar to God of War 2018. It doesn't seem like, it seems like they used the formula, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. People really loved that one, and so it doesn't look like they veered too much from that formula. I mean, if you're a fan of God of War, likely you know that they're probably going to add a new weapon. They already have the axe. They've got the Blades of Chaos. I would almost guarantee you there'll be a new weapon in this one, so maybe there's 3 weapons you could switch between now. They also said that you could go to all 10 realms of the Norse mythology, rather than being stuck in only 6 of them like God of War 2018 was, so there'll be 4 completely new realms to visit. And also, Thor will be the protagonist of this one, as well as Freya, who was your teammate and ally in the first game. She's now the villain of the second game because, spoiler alert, you murdered her son. You bastard. How could you? So now, they gotta ride the night because their homie died tonight. And they're gonna kick your fucking ass in God of War Ragnarok. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I basically see that some people are like up in arms because they're like, wait a minute. From what they showed, it looks exactly the same as the previous game. It doesn't even look like a PS5 game. It looks like a PS4 game. To which I answer, it's because it is a PS4 game. It's cross-platform. I don't know if you were aware of this. They announced it's cross-platform. Much like Horizon Forbidden West, it is a cross-platform game. So I don't know why people are kind of expecting so much better. What I would argue is, it'll probably run at a higher frame rate, right? It'll probably have some graphical improvements, but it's not, don't expect the world from this game because they have to make it work on 2 consoles. You know, maybe in a different world without COVID and a world where consoles were more readily available, this wouldn't have been an issue. But it is what it is, and I think we all have to kind of accept that at least for the next year, we may be seeing games held back graphically because they're cross-platform, and there's nothing that can really be done about that, right, Jasper Kitty? See, Jasper knows. He's upset too, because he really liked God of War 2018, and he told me he wanted this new one to look great, but he understands. He understands the climate of the world, don't you, sir? Of course he does, see? He knows what's going on. Jasper Kitty he's always in on everything. He knows you know, he's a big worldview kitty. He understands all this stuff. So anyway, that was the Sony event. Now, let's be honest here, okay, with all that stuff I just talked about. Is there anything that I just told you that made your jaw drop or may have been super interesting? Quite frankly, the only thing for me is that there is a Wolverine game being developed by Insomniac. But outside of that, like, absolutely nothing in that presentation wowed me. I mean it. Like, if they had said, oh, okay, the release date of God of War is this date, I would have been, okay, now we know when it is. That was solid info. This is exciting. But essentially what we got was a bunch of information we already knew, or seasonal updates or year dates. Those are not dates. Okay, I need you guys to understand something, all right? Telling me that a game comes out in spring, or a game comes out in 2023, or hell, even a game that comes out, it's coming out in March, that's still not a release date, all right? The reason that these game developers are incredibly indefinite saying when their games come out is because of COVID. I hate to say it. It sucks. COVID fucked everything up for everybody. So I don't blame these game developers for not wanting to commit to a release date that then they can't live up to because they're trying to develop remotely, okay? At the very same time, I don't know why Sony is doing a hype event if they can't hype their games because no one knows when their games are coming out. You know what I mean? Like, the games that had release dates were impressive. I'm not super excited for Gran Turismo. I'm certainly not super excited for a re-release of Grand Theft Auto 5, you know. And the games that I wanted solid info on, we didn't get much or any solid info on. So I was left kind of scratching my head like, man, you know, I wasn't here yesterday to cover it live. But after watching it back, I'm like, what would I have even talked about if I did watch it live? Like, I just covered it in 10 minutes, and that was the whole event. Like, there's nothing to talk about, you know? I really want release dates for this, man. And if you can't provide it, then don't hype it. I'm sorry to say, that's my attitude. After 13 years of content creation, if you're not far along enough in the development of a game to tell me when it's going to come out, then I don't care. Tell me when the game is ready. I don't want to hear about the Elder Scrolls 6 Dick Cheese. Because let's be honest, that could literally be the name of Elder Scrolls 6, Dick Cheese, and then they could just change it later because the game's probably 5 years away. So don't tell me you're even making Elder Scrolls 6 Dick Cheese, because I don't care about the Dick Cheese until you have a release date for the Dick Cheese. Alright? It's disgusting. I'm tired of this shit. Just tell me when the game's coming out. And if you don't know, don't hype it. Because this is what happens. You go and you talk about a game for so long, the hype becomes insanely unreal to the point where the game can never live up to the expectation. Cyberpunk 2077 was hyped for what, 7 years? And look how it came out, right? So if you ain't ready to say, look, we're far along in development, here it is, and here's the deal, and here's the date, I don't want to hear about it. Really. Really, I mean that. Just stop it. It's annoying. It's like, it's so frustrating to be teased and then say, well, fuck off for 3 years when we have more. You know, we just got teased about Wolverine. Great. We might not hear about it for another 2 years. Right? What do we really want every game to become Beyond Good and Evil 2? Is that what we want? Get teased the shit out of and then you don't hear about it for a decade? Like, what the fuck is this, man? So, that's my opinion. You could completely disagree with me. If you got hype for the event, good for you. I'm glad that you can still get hype over this shit. For me, it's like, dude, okay, non-announcement, uninteresting game. Oh, look, here's something super interesting. No actual concrete information. Okay, so that's a non-announcement, and that's what the whole event felt like to me. You know? This sucks ass because COVID really fucked stuff up. You know, it's just frustrating. I feel like God of War would have been out this year if it weren't for COVID, you know, and it would have been outstanding. It wasn't a situation where it's because they were rushing. It's because they would have not been so fucking delayed by this horse shit. And, you know, it's unfortunate for the games industry to be in this situation, I feel. So I'm not going to sit here and be upset that the games aren't coming out. What I am upset about is that Sony's trying to hype up shit that ain't ready. That's what pisses me off. Okay. The other big gaming story today, folks, there was a humongously important court ruling this morning. For those of you who are not aware, for the last year, there has been an ongoing court case of Epic Games versus Apple. Here's what happened. Epic Games had Fortnite, the mobile version of Fortnite, not the full version for consoles, but the mobile version on mobile devices like smartphones, listed on the Apple Store for download and play. Now, Apple has had this unique stranglehold on the marketplace. And what I mean by that is Apple has this weird, very, very, I would argue, unfair and demanding situation. Okay? And the situation is thus. If you want to have your application listed on Apple devices, on the Apple Store for download and use on any Apple device, so this includes an iPhone, an iPad, you know, anything. I mean, I assume even the Apple Watch probably has apps on it too. Okay? If you want to have your game listed on the Apple Store for use on an Apple device, not even game, by the way, any app. I should argue that too. It's not just games. This is any application. We're talking applications where you order food. You know, that's included here too. Anything where there's an application listed on an Apple Store. Apple had a stranglehold on these people saying, if you want to run your app on our phone, we take 30% of every single transaction that runs through your app. Flat rate. No exception. So that means, so let's say, for example, I don't know, there's an application you're using and it costs $10 to do something in it. Apple takes $3. And that app only makes $7 out of that transaction. And it's always been like that. Apple has had this crazy stranglehold. Okay? Well, Epic Games, basically becoming so incredibly rich over the last couple of years because of Fortnite, decided they were going to be the ones to have a moral campaign against Apple and try to, in a court of law, make it so that they can't do this anymore. Now, they also tried a bunch of other stuff. They were actually trying to make Apple suffer in many different ways. So here's what they did. Without permission from Apple and going against their contractual obligations to Apple, last year, Epic Games added a new way to buy credits for the Fortnite mobile game that completely bypassed Apple, meaning Apple did not make their 30% cut that they were supposed to get. So they turned this on for like 2 days or something like this, and Apple said, well, you violated the terms of our agreement. We're not making money on these transactions because you turned them on and it's cheaper for your consumers, which is great for the customer, but it's no good for us because we don't make money. So we're kicking you off the platform. And they did. They kicked Fortnite off the platform. You cannot get Fortnite on an Apple device anymore. And it's been like this for almost a year. So Apple took them to court. Epic took them to court and sued Apple. and said Apple does not have the ability to do this. This is a monopoly situation, a stranglehold situation where they are basically forcing incredibly high 30% transactions. It's not right. Then they're forcefully removing people from their marketplace. It's not right. This all has to change. Okay? So this big thing's been going on for a year. Epic basically had 10 things they were seeking to get from Apple. They lost 9 out of 10. In fact, this ruling that happened this morning, pretty much almost 100% is against Epic and in Apple's favor. They have to pay Apple millions of dollars for doing this because they violated their contract with Apple and all kinds of penalties and shit. But Epic Games won the one thing that they really wanted. It has been ruled in a court of law. Apple can no longer force people to pay them 30% for a transaction. What has to happen is there are now legally protected avenues by which these game companies and or app makers, doesn't have to be a game, will say, okay, well, you can choose to buy something through the Apple Store for our game, and that costs this much, or here's an alternate method by which you can buy the same or similar product for much cheaper through this other method, and this pays us directly. Right? So what I can argue is what you'll see is, for example, you're going to order food through an app. Well, you can either go through the Apple Store and pay the full amount, or click here to pay through our other transactional thing with your PayPal account and pay 30% less. Now, here's the thing. I have seen this morning some of the biggest amount of damage control ever from Apple fanboys that I've ever seen in my life. Apple fans are out and, oh, don't worry, folks. People are lazy and stupid. And people who use Apple products are definitely going to keep using the Apple Store. They're going to pay that 30% extra because of ease of use. When you're inside of an app, who wants to click on an external link and have to log into another website to make a payment when you could just use your thumb or use your retinal scan and get it immediately done? Everyone is just going to use the current thing, and Apple's not going to lose any money. Are you stupid? Are you out of your mind? No! Ladies and gentlemen, these people who are saying this shit, alright? The reason they're saying it is because these are the filthy rich motherfuckers who line up every year to buy the new iPhone, alright? They're the ones who have so much disposable income, they don't care about paying the 30% extra. But the common person absolutely will care about this. Ladies and gentlemen, you ever heard of extreme couponing? People will go out of their way to find ways to save money and or get shit for free in every possible method, because that's how our society is. All right? Where you can save, people will save. People are absolutely, positively going to take the avenue where they save 30%. This isn't even like, oh, 1%, 5%, 10%. This is essentially a third of the cost of what you're buying on an Apple device has been eliminated. Who the fuck would not do that? Right? Who? Who wouldn't do it? That's mind-numbingly stupid to say, oh, don't worry, people will just pay them more anyway for ease of use. You buffoon. Maybe you will because you're an idiot, but anyone out there who's a normal person who doesn't have unlimited funds and doesn't line up to buy every Apple device every year will say, fuck that shit, I'm saving money. And the thing is, you guys have no idea how profitable, all right, how profitable the Apple Store is for Apple. Because you may argue, I don't understand. Apple comes out with a new phone every year, but I'm sure not every single person who owns an iPhone buys that. So where does Apple make their money from? The Apple Store. 1,000,000%. That's where they make all their money. So now, overnight, this court has said, nope, it's over. No more stranglehold. You will no longer get guaranteed profits on every transaction. People will be able to have viable alternative options and save money. Why the fuck would anyone keep paying Apple for nothing, right? So for me, this is a huge ruling. I'm not even kidding you. This is going to make Apple look like shit. Apple's shares likely will tank because of this, because confidence in the company's profitability is going to drop significantly. significantly. And I don't even know, like, can Apple continue to exist as the company? Ah! Jasper is attacking. Ah! Jasper's attacking me. Ladies and gentlemen, ah! Jasper's attacking me. Ah! Jasper's very upset because he likes Apple. He told me that Steve Jobs was his idol. And now he's very upset that this is happening. How the mighty have fallen. Jasper, can you not eat me while I'm on stream? Ah! He's licking me. Oh my goodness. But anyway, yeah, this is huge. And a lot of people are, again, they're trying to downplay it like it's nothing. Oh, this is no big deal. Epic lost 9 out of 10 things they were trying to get. This is the one they wanted. This is the reason why they sued Apple and did what they did. Oh, it's a publicity stunt. It's not a publicity stunt. Epic was tired of this shit. They were like, we're the ones, we feel we're in a good enough financial position. We don't care if our games get pulled from the Apple Store. We want to fix this marketplace for everyone. And they did. They actually did. So, I'm curious to see. Now, the thing is, this could be a Nintendo situation, right? Well, when Nintendo fails, they have so many money reserves, it doesn't matter. It's true. Apple probably has ridiculous amounts of money. But again, it's not just about short term, it's about long term. This is a long-term revenue stream for them that's going away. Because I'm telling you, the vast majority of people will not continue to pay us 30% premium for transactions on an iPhone or iPad when they could save that money. They're not going to do it. So, that padding that they're going to get is gone. So what's going to happen? Investors are going to lose confidence. Their stock price is going to drop. This is huge. So let's see what happens. Let us see what happens moving forward with this story. I'm curious to see if we have, like, within a couple of weeks of this ruling, Apple profits have plummeted dramatically and Apple has fallen apart, or Apple doesn't give a fuck. Who knows? Apple, like I said, Apple and Nintendo were very close parallels, where they're both companies. They make tech that's kind of weird, that's a little different from everyone else, and people line up in droves to buy it, and there's this fanboy mentality, and I'm very curious to see what happens. We shall find out. Okay, now it's time for shoutouts. So let's get to shoutouts, my friends. 672 says, I've Googled it. Almost 80% of Apple's profit margins come from the App Store. This is huge. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm telling you, it's not a hardware company anymore. It's been a software company for a very long time. And if that goes away overnight, what's going to happen? Right? Okay, let's do shoutouts. Thank you to Little Crow X Gaming, who did a super chat and says, Phil, are you interested in a collab, maybe sometime like Killing Floor 2 on Xbox Game Pass? Right now, I don't have any plans of playing Killing Floor 2. I'm not saying that in the future I might not, but what I would argue is if there's a game coming up that's multiplayer, and there are quite a few multiplayer games coming up this year, including Battlefield, Halo, that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do some stuff with people there. If people want to try to join me, we can do private lobbies or something, then I would consider it, all right? But not Killing Floor. I'm not too interested in that. Nathan Smith did a super chat. He says, Phil, that new Wolverine game looks interesting, and I hope that they don't turn down his darker type of story. I mean, yeah, I agree with you there, because Wolverine has had many different faces and many different storylines over the years. He's had very dark, epic storylines, and then he's had very, okay, more PC, kind of, teen rated. So, I guess we'll see. Oh, excuse me. I guess we'll see moving forward. But I'm excited for a Wolverine game. There hasn't been one in a very, very long time. But I just wish we knew more about it, which we don't. So during my day off, I got 2 tips from Xbox King 87, and in a nutshell, I just want to kind of summarize. Basically, what he says is, Halo 6 is actually, which is Halo Infinite, is going to have a plot line based off of Halo Wars 2. The main antagonists in the game are actually villains from Halo Wars 2, and therefore, if I played Halo Wars 2 before Halo Infinite, I would basically have a background for the game. That's great. I'm still not playing Halo Wars 2. You're essentially telling me I have to do a Kingdom Hearts. You're telling me you have to play all the spin-offs to understand the plot of the main game. If that's the case, I don't care. I never played all the spin-offs of Kingdom Hearts, and I'm not going to play spin-offs of Halo to understand the story of Halo Infinite. They should do a good enough job in the game itself explaining what's going on. James AF became a channel supporter. Thank you, James. That's going to jump us up to 273 supporters. And by the way, yes, that is the most we've ever had at one time on this channel. Every single time we get a new supporter now, it's the new record. So 273, thank you, James. All right, today's tipping starts off with CM Fool, who tipped me $10. And he says, DSP, I am sorry that I haven't been around. I and the Quiet Man community are trying to set up Quiet Man Con, but the Delta variant and the hurricane have been nearly impossible for us to find a stadium that can house at least 40,000 people. But what did I miss? Wow. You missed a lot, man. You really did. Like, this summer was fun. Even though there was not a lot going on in the realm of new releases, it was a fun summer. You missed an insanely epic playthrough of Fallout New Vegas, which I absolutely loved playing. You missed a couple playthroughs of Mass Effect. Some really unique games like Last Stop, 12 Minutes. A lot of stuff I did on Xbox Series X in the last month since I got my console. You missed a ton. Of course, the good news is you can always get caught up on all that right here on DSP Gaming because I archive all of it, which is the whole point of me archiving it. If you're away for a while, you can get caught up at your own leisure. And thank you for the tip. It's good to see you back, sir. RPG Fan 2 took me $2. Said, DSP, will you play Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous? It's a 60-hour RPG. I've never heard of it, so the answer is likely no. RPG Fan 33 took me $2. He said, DSP, are you going to play Bravely Default? It's a 60-hour RPG. I've heard of it, but it's old, so likely no. Thank you for the tips. Rob is here today. What's going on, Rob? Good to see you, man. He tipped $10, and he says, good to be here after a tough few days. I'm remembering that I've been with you since Kirby Epic Yarn and will always have your back. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rob. I'm sorry to hear you had a rough few days. Hopefully, the next 7 straight days of streaming I'm doing will cheer you up a bit. Hopefully. Thank you for the support. Also, Kamaru has tipped me $1.50 and says, though you won't play Tales of Arise now, I'm still looking forward to it. It's fantastic so far. WarioWare is also amazing, but you can beat the main game in like 2 hours, and then the rest of it is just perfecting your skills and high scores, so it probably won't work for streams in my opinion. That is exactly what I was afraid of. It would be one thing if WarioWare was like $10 or $20, but you're asking me to invest $40 in a game that essentially I can beat in one stream, and that I'm just not seeing the value there. Okay? RPG Fan 14 to be $2 said, are you going to play King Bounty 2? It's a 60-hour RPG. No. RPG Fan 31 tipped me $2 and said, are you going to play Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny? It's a 60-hour-long RPG. No. Thank you for those tips. I don't know what's going on with these tips, but okay. Gonna be honest with you. CM Fool has tipped me another $2 and says, are you going to play Battletoads? Hashtag Battle the Toad. Maybe, because it's on Game Pass now. It's free. So I may eventually play it. I'm probably not going to play it soon, but I may play it. CM Full tipped another $2.50. Said, what is Deathloop? Is it a movie? Yes. No, it's not. It's a game. It's a game that basically combines the gameplay of Dishonored with kind of the gameplay loop of a roguelike. So it's kind of unique, and I'm curious to see how it turns out on Tuesday. Anzo Kamaru tipped me $1.50 and says, Project Eve is going to be a AAA hack-and-slash game similar to Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, made by a Korean developer called Shift Up. I'm extremely excited about it because they're one of my favorite devs, but I don't think that you'll like it because it's going to be extremely sexualized. Oh, great. I just love it when 95% of the content is gratuitous sexual content with boobs hanging out, dicks flapping around, you know, nipples squirting all over the place. That's my favorite kind of game, as you guys know. I usually just focus on that, which is why I've been banned from every major streaming platform. Why do they gotta make it hypersexualized? Seriously. Why can't I gotta ask this question? In particular, it's usually Japanese game developers. In this case, you're telling me that this is a Korean game developer. Why do they have to make it hypersexualized? What is the benefit of that besides maybe you sell a few extra 1,000 copies of a game because of a bunch of pervs, right? Oh boy, the pervy audience went and bought it. But is it a good game? If it is, and it's blatant sexual content constantly, it actually holds down the quality of the game, I feel. I mean, that's my take on it. You could completely disagree, but to me, it's like, why do we need this? You know? I just want to play a good game. I don't want to be having fucking tits in my face every 3 seconds. But that's because I'm 39 years old and I'm happily married, too. You know, I guess if you're a young teenager who wants that horny kind of content, I get, you know. But then it kind of excludes me from enjoying the game, you know? You can definitely have a game that includes one audience but excludes another just on sexual content alone. So, I think game devs need to think about that a little bit more. I'll agree there. Zen Shuriken says Bayonetta was sexualized, but not in a bad way. Did Bayonetta have sexualized content? Yes. But was it over-the-top sexualization? I don't feel that it was bad. No. I think that that's a good example of a game that wanted that content but didn't go too far and makes it still available for most audiences. You know, that wasn't fucking, oh my god, over the top sexualized content, mature adults only shit. You know what I mean? So, okay. Continuing on, Big B just tipped me a whopping $25 and says, you think my job's easy? You try keeping a bunch of fables from killing each other. So, of course, this is supposed to be Big B Wolf from The Wolf Among Us. Thank you, Big B, for that very generous tip. And by the way, I wonder what's going on, because that game is in development, right? The Wolf Among Us 2? I believe it is. I just don't know how far along they are. We haven't heard anything about that game in a million years, so let's hope it does get made. I think it deserves to be made. It was in development with Telltale when Telltale went out of business, but then they got bought out, and now apparently it's back on, right? Plum Girl tipped me at $4.20 as I was gone for a bit because I didn't want Ghost of Tsushima spoilers. I want to say hi, and I'm excited for Life is Strange. I hope this one is better. It's been a good pre-stream. Thanks for the news. You're welcome. And I, just like you, am in the same mindset where I really want this to be good. Like, here's the thing. I really liked that other game from Don't Nod last year, Tell Me Why. I actually thought it was one of the most interesting, well-written plots in a while for games. It was unique, and I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that it was very gameplay light. I really enjoyed it. So, I'm hoping that this one's good. We're going to find out today. Looks like we had a couple more YouTube contributions. Shout out to TX Shooter 50, who did a super chat and says, did you ever play X2 Wolverine's Revenge? It was a good game. No. There was a Wolverine game I played in the 90s, but I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was on, like, Genesis and Super Nintendo. And then, remember I played Wolverine Origins, right? The movie game, the movie tie-in game. X-Men Origins Wolverine, that's what it was called. And that was the last Wolverine game there was. You know? Rebel has did a $10 super chat and says, the significance of the ruling is not lost on me. The power of greed is undeniable, and this is a small victory in the war against the silicon juggernauts like Apple, etc. Yes, and this is, in my opinion, this is a major unseating, because Apple really felt invincible. It really did. Apple felt like it could do no wrong, and it could just do whatever it wanted, have a stranglehold on the marketplace, and be this big kind of almost like dictatorish feeling over mobile devices that they created. And now the court's like, nope. Sorry, and that could be a huge erosion of their profits every year. So we'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a break. I have to use the bathroom. Let's take a break. Please, during this time, take an opportunity yourself to grab a drink or a snack. Use the restroom yourself. When I come back from this break, it is Life is Strange True Colors. I am excited to see if it's good. I hope it is. I think, like I said, even if it's cringe, we can laugh and cringe together, right? And have a good time with it. And usually these narrative-based games are entertaining no matter what. So I will see you in just a bit. All right, guys, thank you. I'll see you in a few.